down along the river. Got 8 minutes.
What got me into gaming was probably my dad. He used to own like Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 when it came out, and he bought me my first Game Boy Color when I was really young. Well, my league career started pretty early, I would say. I started playing the game when it had just come out in Season 1, right around the time Twisted Tree Line came out, and Garen, I think, was the first champ I saw come out. But I didn't really get hooked on the game. It was just kind of one thing I played alongside stuff like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike.
Back coming in. Looking for Takes That. He's got a lot of damage to work with here. Forced to take that heal out.
But then by Season 3, I got really hooked. I spent all my time, or all my free time playing it, and I joined some random Norwegian Facebook group, and I realized that there's like a small scene in Norway where people put together teams and go to tournaments and LAN events. And at the time I was really high rated compared to like the average player there. So instantly like everyone kind of started wanting me to play, and I got into it pretty fast. And after that point, it just kind of went up and up and up. And when I turned 18, I moved away from home, put school on hold, and flew over to Turkey for my first professional team. After Turkey, I went to Kiev in Spain, then Temple Storm in NA, then Movie Star, then Splice, and now I'm here in ENCE. It's been a long ride.
The shields, comes in with the heals. Hat-trick finds a triple kill.
All right, BTXL versus ENCE, just heard from Hat-tricks there, and I think it would be very easy to frame the discussion around XL, but let's actually start on the other side of the coin. Let's start with ENCE, Froskurin.
Okay, I'm so glad that you handed it off to me. I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, but I am very excited about ENCE's support player, and I'm going to try to say it. Sefe? Did I get it?
We'll take it. We'll take it.
I've messed this up so many times. I'm so sorry, Nordic League players. I'm still learning how to pronounce your names. Anyway, he had his recent game on Godsent, and it was a Bard performance. And in watching how a lot of the teams in the NLC have kind of traversed around macro and traversed around map, Bard, of course, is a great band-aid champion because his high mobility allows you to probably not be great at macro decisions, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to guess the right time around. You can guess right the second time around because you don't lose any time zipping down there. And that's exactly what this guy does, except he also guesses right the first time around. I thought his mid-game performance, how he was roaming, the pressure he was creating for his team, I was just watching ENCE, I was like, damn, this boy can move. He knows where he should go. And that is so exciting when you face a team like Excel, who has such a powerful bot lane. If you can get this guy on a roaming support and unlock him alongside Kasing, maybe ENCE actually stylistically stand a chance.
Yeah, and just to shine some more light onto ENCE, they do have more than one player. They actually have a whole team of 5 players, not just
They only need 5 bards.
Okay. but to call it back to ENCE as a team, there was this kind of team that struggled in the beginning. Even Sefe struggled in the beginning, especially on Thresh, but he's really good in these roaming kind of champions too. But the kind of team that ENCE have developed into is that they evolved every game they played from week to week. And I'm looking to see an ENCE now that finally is close to that Super Saiyan form now, where they're actually good in the early game, because their early game have been really good. The thing for me again with ENCE is that late game has looked a bit questionable. They struggle to close out game. They struggle to find the synergy in the late game. And yeah, they have some niche individual plays every now and then, but I'm looking for them to move as a cohesive unit because they need more to beat a team like BTXL.
And something I want to highlight on the side of BTXL is the fact that we've seen vulnerabilities with how this roster plays out, some of their lane assignments, some of their rotations. And that's why I potentially think ENCE could punish them, because we're talking about the Bard for Sefe. Is a champion with the mobility to move around. You could potentially find these windows. We often see XL leaving Deadly in a side lane or leaving in bot lane for those Herald swaps. And it means you have 4 members on the top side of the map, and either you can contest that 4-man with numbers on your own, or you can look to punish Deadly. And it felt like we saw windows where this wasn't getting punished. ENCE could potentially be the team to do so, because Sefe has been really intelligent with how he's been playing the map.
It will answer one of those questions of when teams face Fnatic Rising or they face Excel, it's this idea of you must be this good to ride this ride, if that makes sense. Like, you have to be able to at least match them in the skill check. Otherwise, they're just going to roll you over because they have more consistent macro than the majority of the team. So if ENCE, get absolutely blown out of this game, and Goldberg, Ox, you brought up both beautiful examples of potentially what could happen to this team. I expect it would also be that they just don't contest 1v1 individually, pound for pound talent-wise in the lane phase. Never mind the fact that they might fumble in a late game, if you will.
Well, I think one of the questions that we're going to have to ask is, there's been a lot of talk about Sef's kind of Bard pick, will it make it through the draft? We'll take a quick breather, and when we're back, we'll see. When it's draft, XL will be on the red side and ENCE will be on the blue. Immediately a Wukong ban followed by a Varus. Some pretty standard bans to kick things off here between these two teams.
Is it standard? Is Wukong standard? Is it standard in this league?
I've seen a lot of Wukong bans in this league.
Not so much first rotation though. I feel like it's more of a second rotation
no.
thing. I think this is more ENCE trying to specifically target BTXL, especially the Azir away from Hat-Trick, something that gives him priority, which we've talked about endlessly, how XL, when they had Special on the roster, they relied on him finding priority and rotating that down. And it's something Hat-Trick has, to an extent, tried to copy so far.
think one of the things that we have discussed in other pick and bans, that's what are we going for in the bot lane. But when we're talking about BTXL, they're a kind of team like last week, they brought out Sire Khan, okay? So it's not just banning away Aphelios and Ezreal, they have other champions up their sleeve. So going into this first pick here, I'm interested to see if Simply gets his TF, which is his most preferable champion too. I don't know if it's first pickable, but I want to see if they want to contest it for hat tricks, because we've seen that they like to play these global kind of champions too.
There's also the fact that Kalista keeps slipping through a lot of these drafts. And the thing about Kalista is that if the teams aren't comfortable playing with her, she'll continue to fall through and both teams will kind of look the other direction. And so now my question is, Aphelios comes to mind. Volibear has been the big first pick blue side for reasons that we've talked about previously, but like, when will someone snap grab Kalista and actually really try to hard punish these bot lanes?
That's something that's weird to me, because Kevo literally played Kalista last split when not many teams were playing it earlier in the split, and I feel like now is a prime opportunity to potentially bring it out, and maybe they're just waiting for that opportunity, but by all means, Kevo is a Kalista player.
I mean, there's still room for it, right? If they're not going for it here with Deadly, it's obviously still up and available. But I think last week too, we did see that the Kalista went through, but not with that much success here. So now we're seeing that the Trundle is coming through, the blind pick Orianna is coming through. So we don't really want to see any tanks. I think it's a good answer into the Trundle here, especially because when he ults, there's a beefy slappy bear that's coming at your face. You want to neutralize that. If you want to go for the Kalista now, you could go with the Kalista Twisted Faith rotation. If you want to do that, you can also just go for it with the support, but it's not a necessity. Wow,
like,
what Tristana?
Well, he doesn't want to play Aphelios because he's looking at Orianna and Trundle, and you don't have enough range to play around it. So he pivots into Tristana because he's like, it's probably going to be an Aphelios versus Trist matchup. I can win the push on that one, and I can outrange this Orianna and Trundle control, and then you put the Karma on top of it that you're going to have priority in bot lane so you can fight in river with this Volibear. If Deadly doesn't go Aphelios here, that is what I'd be really interested in. There we go. Finally, yes. You forced him into Tristana because they thought you were going to take the Aphelios. You know Aphelios is unplayable here. Do it, Deadly. Punish this.
It's going to be interesting to see what support is paired up with Kasing here, because obviously the Thresh is going down, so I expect bans towards the likes of that Nautilus. But there's still the opportunity to flex this Tristana. I think that's something that ENCE could do here if they want to throw it mid, have a better matchup. Potentially the Ashe is something, well, I mean, they just banned that as I'm saying that. That would have been my go-to with the priority and is particularly good in that matchup. So maybe something will slip through the cracks that ENCE has to offer. And I do know that Kevo also does play Heimer. So if they do have that AD in the mid, it's something that can cause a lot of issues for the Kalista.
Heimer would be so good if he actually pulled it out in these comps already. I would love a Heimer pick.
Yeah, I'm already caught off guard with the Tristana pick here, and as Ox said, it's a really good flex for the mid lane too. It does fairly well into the Orianna. If you want to pair it up with the Volibear, there's kill pressure already there. So I'm looking for that. If they are going for this Orianna, not Orianna, but Heimerdinger, this draft is already going to be extremely interesting and entertaining, because we were just asking questions like, how are ENCE going to fare into BTXL? And if they are going full comfort, they are obviously feeling comfortable into the matchup.
You'd expect that it'll be Nautilus last ban as one of the other big supports that would work with Kalista, unless they want to try to target focus either a specific mid lane matchup, since they might be forced to pivot Tristana into the AD carry pool, and then they want to make sure that like one of the blind pickable mid laners is gone. Or excuse me, he's got Orianna on blind.
We're also talking about the Bard, but you don't get to see your Sepher Bard coming in here, so it is actually just the Karma. I don't know how we feel about that, because with the Karma, it's
he's still running around.
All right, fine, but he's not creating literal portals between terrain to get your team to different destinations. Yeah, you're giving movement speed, but it's not like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does that. And there it is. Ox, you're a man.
Good job, Ox.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great jump here, obviously into the Kalista. I think the setup in the Tristana was great. As Frost was saying, they opened it up so Aphelios would be difficult, so they went for the Kalista almost as a bait. And now, this is really scary in my eyes. XL often lean on bot lane. They often lean on Deadly as a big carry for them. You have the Gangplank causing issues. You have the Karma Heimer, who are obviously going to shove you in. And Tristana can easily be able to shove the wave in, find the access down the bot lane, and look to dive.
This is a banging draft from ENCE. They have so many clear win conditions and the scaling potential. If Excel win this game, it's because they actually ran them over in the lane phase and then really made do on 1 and 2 item power spikes. Otherwise, Excel will have to outplay and hope for a miracle if they actually want to try to face this team comp around 30 to 35 minutes. I think ENCE have drafted themselves a real winner here. Now they just need to make sure that they survive lane phase.
Talk to me about the final pick in then for Excel, because we didn't get a chance to discuss that, but the Soraka gets locked in alongside the Kalista here.
Soraka's actually, like, the thing is, you think it'd be really weird. You're like, oh, I throw my unicorn in there. Why would I want to do? But it's actually for protecting her, and it's the other way around. Soraka is a great lane bully. She hard pushes lanes. She can out-trade you almost any time. And yeah, you can throw her in, but I think it's more so for keeping her safe. The issue is that you're still playing kind of sideways and that your Kalista is always going to be on a timer comparatively to a Tristana and a Heimer. So I don't hate the Soraka here, but there is not a lot of options come late game for BTL XL's comp.
Yeah, I guess what I'm seeing, even from my perspective, is that where does the damage come from past a certain point? You know, bar the Orianna. Who obviously, yeah, exactly. Who we know scales okay, but you're going against a Tristana Heimerdinger. Like, I feel like the consistent damage output in a team fight, if Deadly doesn't get rolling here, is going to be an issue for XL. I'm excited because I genuinely feel like ENCE have got a really good shot at getting a win off BTXL here. I also love this draft, and Orcs, obviously you're gonna get the prediction cap for the day with that Heimerdinger pickup onto Kavo. Gonna hand it over to our casters though. It's gonna be Hiprain and Trouble. Take it away.
For the Passover Scoundrel, hello and welcome back as we're getting ready to go into game number 3 between ENCE and BTXL. Kind of a curveball really thrown there in the champ select, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this so far for ENCE really here, Trouble.
I just have to give props to Orcs because he's like, well, you know what would really punish Kalista and Kevo plays? It's the Heimerdinger. It's the Hyanan special coming to you in the NLC by yours truly, Kevo. And I like that. We talked a lot about how BTXL like to get their leads through the bot lane. Talking about bot lane.
We're in for a fiesta. Who's going to step out first?
Oh, no.
The turret's placed by Kevo. No one knows. No one knows what's going on. All right, they see Kevo. Does Kevo just know this is happening? There's the turret.
He will now.
All right, now they know it's happening.
Basically, BTXL. Wait a minute.
Wait, they're not done. Sendo does have the flash. He has the face breaker. Kevo could get caught out here. He goes in, gets the 2-man off. The heal's there. Kevo has to flash away to safety. Heal and flash used from Kevo and Seth for flash from Sendo.
This is going to be almost unplayable for Kevo on the Heimerdinger. This is exactly what BTXL wanted. They are literally the inventors of the level 1 invades right here. BTXL always come up with some sort of juicy level 1 strategy, trying to take the advantage that way. And what better advantage do you want than burning 2 summoners in the bot lane when you're a bot lane-centric team playing towards Deadly? We talked about how the Kalista and the Soraka want to shove in the lane, and getting to shove in before the Heimerdinger comes and sets down towers is going to tremendously benefit you, as well as 2 summoners going down means that Taxa could just walk down there, put a pillar up, and really punish that Heimerdinger pick.
I feel like if there's any team that's going to know how to deal with the Heimerdinger, it is XL. Last year, they had Hyanan on the team, and it was basically permabanned against them. So these guys are going to be team who are pretty much used to dealing with that. Sendo actually takes a fair amount of damage from Nilly early. And Taiki's looking to come in for a gank.
Textbook.
Sendo just trying to put the damage into Nilly to try and survive here. The Facebreaker shield, not going to be enough to keep him alive. Taiki in the minion wave, and Sendo tries to sustain through it all as Taiki levels up. First blood to ENCE.
Oh, this is so textbook Taiki. He will do his 2 buffs, and he will level 2 gank for his top laner. That is so textbook from him. He was really trying hard there to give Nile the kill, but Nile didn't want to step close enough in case Sendu trades 1 for 1. So that was very well played for the jungle and top lane of ENCE. Plus, they will not get punished by that because Taxa is already on the top side.
Yeah. And kind of just going back towards this bot lane, you kind of hit on it earlier, was with the way that level 1 went, it was going to be rough.
It shows.
And it is rough. Look at that. 11 to 17 CS constantly getting shoved in. Deadly and Kasing have got their grip on this game. And Frosk was saying, XL, if they win this, it's going to be off the back of snowballing the lanes. And this is the way to snowball the lane. Go on to ENCE and just give Sendo a free kill. That tower dive was beautifully clean from XL. Taiki is going to spot out one here. He's got the safe shield on. The Taxa nails the flash. Simply's going to hop over the wall. And with those charges, they're going to look to turn this around. He does have that face breaker coming up soon, but he gets a big old shield out from Hatrix. And now Nilly is in the middle of everyone, but they've already found themselves one. Hatrix is looking for Simply, but Simply's able to jump over the wall. Now Taiki might just be able to get the kill onto Hatrix, although Hatrix, with the clockwork wind-up, gets the auto-attack damage in, and BTXL flip the play back on its head.
Mind you, Simply had to give up his wave for that. Look what the wave state is right now in the mid lane. Hatrix patient pushes the wave in, and then ENCE pay for their over-aggression. Sure, Taxa face blunts on a wall, but at the end of the day, oh boy, Hatrix
Deadly's
is not
coming
done.
in. Oh, sorry, Hatrix is coming in. Doesn't have the shockwave. This is a very aggressive early play here. Deadly even flashed forward for that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
putting their foot on the gas here.
I mean, they didn't get anything from ENCE there. The Deadly flashed.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's fine to teleport. He'll go back to his lane. He will be fine. So here, Nille really greeds for that wave when he should have backed and TP'd back to his lane, right? He doesn't ban his flash. Is very crucial right here. And Taiki's like, I'll take my chance. It's a 2v1. I know Sendu is very far away and simply has abandoned his wave mid to try and assist his jungler. So they kill the first one first, but that is a set. He gets a humongous shield by his W. He gets another humongous shield by Hatrix, and the Hatrix is just having a field day sort of cleaning up house right there.
And while that play was going on, another attempted dive onto Nilly burnt his flash and just kind of forced him into a really uncomfortable position. We have to hold that though, as XL are actually jumping in onto Deadly, gets stunned up. The heal comes out from Kasing. They are going to be able to survive that.
The clutch silence to stop Cavo from using any abilities right there on Deadly. Deadly looked deadly dead right there until that silence went down from Kasing. Massive props to him for saving his ADC. On the other hand, of course, ENCE do manage to get a very free objective in the likes of a Cloud Drake. And so far, so good for the squad. They are even. But if you take a look at top lane, Goldbok keeps on saying how much he wants to see Nille on a carry. Right now, Nille is really suffering. We're 6 minutes in, and he's almost 1,000 gold down.
And this is very atypical for XL.
Look where it's
They're playing
freezing.
heavily up to putting Nilly behind. Normally, XL love just to funnel everything into Deadly. But they're actually playing to deny Nilly in this side lane here.
Honestly, I felt
And Deadly's
Nille
fine. He's okay.
blamed himself because he greeded. He didn't TP back. He greeded to stay for the wave. He got dived, then he got dived again. He lost both of his summoners, and now he's now 1.5 levels down. He requires his jungler up there because Sendu's doing an amazing job at freezing the wave, and now it's very calculated by XL, as in where is this Volibear going to be? Because right now he's top lane, so we can do whatever we want. You see that Taxa is going back to his lane. Oh boy.
Sendo just has complete confidence here, just to stand in the face to Nilly and Taiki and go, all right, I'll just punch you. I got the wave, I don't care.
Mind you,
That
he
was
just
beautiful.
won in the previous one before Hatrix showed up. So he's a very, 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 very strong champion and really hard to dive or push away.
49 CS. He's got double the CS right now, 50 to 26.
It's painful.
You can see the gold. Thank you very much, Observer. You see the gold between the two. 1,100 gold up for Sendo. And Taxa is here again. He might be looking just to jump onto Nilly.
They knew that Taiki was helping his top laner push the wave, so he's gonna start pathing towards the bot side now. So Taxa is gonna get some free time. Sendo is pushing the wave aggressively in, and Nille might think here that Sendo is just looking to reset, but surprise!
Sendo comes in with a flash face breaker, does have that showstopper available to him. He's gonna use it, actually buy some space for Nilly. Taxa can't chase up, but Sendo almost gets the true damage part off. And now Taiki looking to come in with the shields onto him. Sendo trying to survive. He is just going to get taken out here. And Simply wasn't the one to last auto attack, so it goes over to Taiki.
Okay, so we're talking about which top laner is gonna make the most boo-boos in one game. Nile has had 2 so far. Sendo is having his first one here. He's overextending a little bit too much. Taxa cannot join. He didn't have his flash available to try and close the distance. And even though Sendo flashes for the face breaker, he cannot move forward from Nile to sort of ult him back to his jungler. So ultimately, both the top lanes end up losing on that. Now the lane is slow pushing again towards Sendu, so he will be able to freeze again if he wants to, but the swap coming in from Shelly.
Yeah, looks like Taiki is going to pick this up. Swap is there. Kevo actually got level 6, though. Has some tower pushing pressure here. Got a pretty big wave, and this could just be first tower blood. Lily's actually able to clear out the wave as well there, so that's a big denial.
It sort of elevates the pressure a little bit from ENCE. They're feeding money into the carry, which right now is this Heimerdinger. Yes, they're taking him away from the Kalista lane because he has been struggling from level 1 going in without the summoners. So they're feeding in money to their carries. Now, who is going to persevere? You know, we know BTXL is feeding money onto Deadly, and ENCE right now is feeding gold into Kevo. And we have to wait and see which one of the two is going to come victorious in the fights to come. None of them yet on this first item completions, and we need to keep an eye out when these come through and see when these teams are going to choose to pick a fight, because I'm thinking maybe not this strike, the next one, when the first item completions come through, we might see a bloody fight. I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't want to take a fight right now with uncompleted items versus a 4-1 Volibear. This is why I'm saying maybe just wait until the Blade of the Ranking is completed on Deadly, and then you can try to fight Taiki.
He's quite a ways off as well, to be fair, though. Got the Vamp Sector, got a Longsword, hasn't even got the Bilgewater. Obviously did kind of take a bit of an item detour to get his Berserker's Greaves to kind of, you know, get that martial cadence to its full effectiveness as quick as possible. But that does mean that he is going to be a little bit slower. Also, hat tricks kind of itemizing defensively with the Seekers means he'll be a way off getting the Ceres finished up as well for himself. So the first items are being somewhat delayed by the BTXL members, but Taxa's still feeling comfortable, still wants to try and aggress up here. You got 6 seconds until this Mountain Drake spawns up, and XL want to get Prio in their lanes to go deal with this and try and get the dragon. They don't want to let ENCE get their second dragon. They don't want to have the Dragon Soul be a win condition to worry about so early, and that's why they're going to put this pillar up onto Seth. Deadly jumping in onto Kevo. Towers, though, are going to do a pretty good job of zoning him away as Kasing is getting churned out. Actually has to use the Wish to heal himself up, and XL, I don't just get forced off a little bit here. Taiki, though, stepping up. He's going to throw down the Stormbringers. Hatrix flashes away. Hatrix does have the ultimate available, and Simply is going to jump into him. Pops the Ignite. The Shockwave as well has been used onto one. Deadly into that flank, though, as XL actually have managed to now kind of corral ENCE into this pit where they can start just whacking away at them. Showstopper used by Sendo. Taiki has to smite to heal as Kasing actually is able to steal away the kill. Sendo now needs to try and survive for the moment as Nilly being zoned away by Deadly. They've actually used the ultimate as well. The Fate's Call's been used. They're trying to get caught out, but now Kasing has to run away. He's got low health bars. And XL are going to continue onto this dragon. 1,300 health, and ENCE look to try and contest it a little bit more. Looks like they are going to step away for now, though. BTXL get the dragon, get their kill, and they're going to walk away.
That was so well played by BTXL. You know, they rushed their way into the dragon before Tristana steps there, before the Heimerdinger has the agency to go and free stack his towers into River, which would be unplayable for BTXL to run into. And at the end of the day, ENCE do nothing. They just sit in a bush, they lose their smite holder, which means you cannot contest with the dragon anymore, and they just wait around. They're just basically observing BTXL take an objective without trading anything else on the map. So macro-wise, yes, that was lackluster for ENCE because they could have pressured mid for plates, they could have pressured bot for plates, and they chose to do none. So props to BTXL for running down that river and taking complete control.
And XL actually decided to fight without those items. completed up. So it worked out for them.
It was pretty much them just stepping in first, right? If you stop Heimerdinger from setting up, you've pretty much won the fight because this is what he relies on. They push him onto a side, he pops his ultimate there onto the grenades and then sets down his towers. When these are down, it's gonna be so much harder to step in and pull them out. And he was just sitting behind the Dragon Pit, knowingly that he's not gonna participate in the fight, and the rest of fans were just there, just observing. So I think there was a little bit maybe of an indecision there coming in from ENCE, not knowing what to do in this situation. And this is why we're talking about BTXL and Fnatic being so good, because they create that pressure for you to have to reply to their actions.
Simply zoned hat-tricks out of that fight as well, forcing him to go for the shockwave. But back to hold that, Sendo actually just gets himself a solo kill bot lane. Meanwhile, now Simply, the exhaust has been used by Deadly onto him.
Okay, this is a great composition right there. A little great concoction between the spells. The Trundle Pillar coming up and the silence going down means you won't be able to flash through or use your abilities that I haven't thought about. And Kasing and Taxa actually shot it there very nicely, but Taiki might
Look for the bull. They got the shield onto Taiki. The turrets are down and Taxa going to get chunked out. Healed up by Kasing though. Soraka can be kind of infuriating to play into, where she can just heal up every damage you put down. Sendo will get this turret in the bot side. So it's one turret apiece. XL are up in gold, and this is what we needed to see them do. Kind of snowball out of the laning phase to win this game.
And here it comes, right? Seraph's just purchased Archangel stuff, rather. Purchased by Hat-Tricks in the mid lane. And I thought that Deadly would have the Blade of the Ring here, but he still has 2 minutes available until they start setting up for the next Dragon to come, right? BTXL do have that sort of team fighting ability with the composition that they have built, and I don't necessarily think that the Heimerdinger will be much of a problem later on, neither will the Tristana, because one, the Soraka is going to heal all the pull coming in from the Heimerdinger, and the Tristana is going to have to jump into an Orianna to try and get any damage down, whilst you have a Set, which is extremely farmed and beefy right now, and a Trundle that's going to steal all the defenses off of your Volibear. So I know in the analyst stats they were like, it's impossible to find against ENCE. I feel with the nameplate on, I feel like BTXL will have the answer to that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it, and to me, I'm not sure if I like Seth on the Karma.
Can I agree with you? Like a lot?
Like, he's so good at punch. I'm about to hold this fort as Hat-Tricks gets caught out, throws down the shockwave, heals a Ron through the wish, but the cannon barrage is able to find the shutdown. Sendo makes the teleport happen in time. But that was just a really solid punish from ENCE there.
Great stuff right there. They timed Hat-Tricks' flash so perfectly they knew he didn't have it. Now they're going to take a quick reset before Hat-Tricks can get back there and take complete control over the bot side of the river for the dragon that's incoming.
Simply caught out by Soraka, face cool, gets silenced, gets bound. Deadly's going to get everything into him, and Simply will get taken out. Sing actually takes a fair amount of damage in response, but he's going to be able to live through that. Good little kill in return there. Both the mid laners were taken out of the picture. However, Simply will be spawning just a second after the Infernal Drake spawns. So this should mean that XL can set up the priority at that Infernal Drake. Kind of just bouncing back because we haven't really had a breather. Speaking about Steph on the Karma, for me, I think of him as someone who's capable of punishing and catching people out. Deadly is a great AD carry, but he is somewhat over-aggressive at times and is liable to getting caught out. I don't feel the Karma enables Seth to punish Deadly for these mistakes, and Deadly unchecked is the scariest form of Deadly. He's up in CS right now. He's got that Blade of the Ruin King. ENCE do get their second dragon, but I think XL were okay with that because they were getting the tower and that gold onto Deadly to enable him to scale up a little bit more, because once he's got that second item on the Callista, I feel like BTXL are going to want to flip the switch and just look for these plays. Or Sendo could just find Seth and Taiki on his own. Rockets come out from Kevo, but Sendo just playing aggressively. He's going to force Taiki to flash away. Seth has to get out there as well.
So that was a great point that you make about Sefe being the playmaker. I felt like his Bard performance was incredible. It felt like he was shot calling everything. It felt like he could catch people from a mile away. He could sniff the place and make them come to life. But Seth
Speaking of finding people and punishing them, Seth gets haymakered and Tax is able to secure the kill. Simply has to rocket jump away.
Cast a curse?
Cast a curse. I mean, we're kind of highlighting our point, but just kind of the other way around. Seth, on a champion, you can't punish people for overaggressions and maybe greedy positioning. As he was trying to contest a ward, just gets taken out for a pink.
And at the moment, it's not like you have a gangplank on the side lane for ENCE, which is like unstoppable. We're almost 20 minutes in there. This guy doesn't even have his Trinity Force. They're gonna have to break this top lane open by committing 3 people down there, while Deadly is doing the job himself with just a support by his side. So they're committing way too much into the top side just to get a lane broke open for Nilla. And that doesn't necessarily help him because he has to share the gold, he has to share the experience, and it doesn't allow him to catch up to Sendo.
I was really... Oh, Kasing's actually caught on the minions. Has to pop the wish to survive. Throws out the silence. Gets pulled in by the face. Cool. And now Seth once again getting punished for a ward. Deadly gets the damage down and rends him for the kill.
Okay, honestly, that wasn't fair. Player-to-player etiquette right there. When you see a support 1v1, and especially when they're enchanters, you just let it unfold and you observe. What Deadly did right there is not allowed, okay?
The Raptors intervened on Seth's behalf, so I'll give that to Deadly.
Okay, fine, man.
He got stuck on the Raptors. He couldn't move. I was so lucky. But, like, that's the second time. I literally highlighted his last death. Not a few seconds, like, what, a minute ago? He died for a ward. And then again, just dies for another ward. And at the end of the day, XL still have that vision down in that bush. And
it wasn't necessarily for a ward. It was him trying to kill Kasing. And Kasing still had flash available for him.
But,
so,
like,
in all
why
honesty,
would Kasing be...
he was trying to go for the 1v1.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you're Seth, why would you assume Kasing's that far into your jungle alone? You know Deadly's probably going to be around the corner.
And this is the thing about squishy supports, right? You can never believe that they're going to be entering enemy territory, fog of war on their own, because it's extremely dangerous for them to get popped instantly if they get caught by any line of damage or CC. So you should assume that Sefe must have thought someone was around. Oh.
Well, this time Kasing may get caught out. The bombs are bouncing and Kasing is going to go pop.
No ult. Oh.
Simply secures that kill.
Zillion style.
Meanwhile, XL will get some free time on this mid lane tier 1, and ENCE, they used a lot there. Cannon Barrage, Heimerdinger ult with the upgrade, and the Stormbringer, so they can't really actually do much more here. I like that use of the Blast Cone to get the turret over the wall. That was really cheeky, actually. Big fan.
It feels like ENCE have lost their identity and what they want to do in the game right now, because it feels like they're being pulled apart by BTXL. BTXL is the one dictating the pace of the game. They are the ones that are making the proactive plays in the game right now, and they're just pulling ENCE by the leash here. They can't make side lane plays because Sendu is extremely powerful right now. A lot of key items have been completed by BTXL, so I don't think that ENCE would want to fight into that. Hurricane into Blade of the Ruin King for the Kalista. Almost Trinity Force completed for Sendu, and he's a monster and one level ahead of the Gangplank. And very crucially, 2 defensive and crucial items for Hatrix here. And remember how we said if Simply wants to dive in, Orianna will be there to reply, will be there to catch him off guard. Please don't fight again for that bush and that ward.
I think this time XL recognizes more than just Seth on his own. They don't want to overstay. Kasing? Pretty far up. Obviously, the face pool is available to Deadly. He's going to be able to get away from this one. Dragon spawning up in 5 seconds. Teleport's getting used, and it looks like XL. 2 items up onto their mid and their AD carry. They want to go for this fight. It looks like they are just going to contest the Dragon for now.
I like this from ENCE. They're like, if you want to go and get the Dragon, which, by the way, will just be your second one, we'll just find you in Baron. Oh, look at that cheeky ward outside of the Baron pit. BTXL know that they haven't started it yet.
They do now. There's a base coming in from Sendo. Sendo's got TP, so he can go for the flank. There aren't too many wards for him to TP to, other than that one right next to the pit.
Again, ENCE think they have the proactive play, but BTXL are the ones that are pulling the strings. ENCE right now is a puppet in this rift. And BTXL are honestly playing with their food. Sure, it seems strong in the draft, but the second I enabled the nameplates, the true BTXL came through. The Kalista that's like 30 CS ahead. She has 2.5 items. Hatrix, who has played this game perfectly so far, managed to get ahead, has never fallen behind. The Tristana, which is an early lane game aggressor, hasn't been able to pop off that hard. And your Gangplank, which is an early game / late game bully, hasn't gotten there yet.
No, I mean, he's got the Triforce, he's got the Warhammer, but Sendo's got the Triforce, he's got the Blade of the Ruined King finished up. I'd love to have a quick toggle on the gold, actually, to see how all the individual members are doing. You can see top lane, 1,000 gold up. Well, 900 gold if you want to be pedantic. A 1,000 gold lead in the mid lane. Bot lane, over 1,000 gold. All of these carries are just, they've got a significant lead over the ENCE carries. And you were saying that, you know, Heimerdinger is one of these carries for ENCE earlier on, and he's just not finding the mark. He's just not really able to set up the turrets in time. And I do worry as this game goes later and later that he won't ever be able to get that opportunity to set up.
I mean, this is not necessarily Kevo's fault, right? He needs to be facilitated for. He needs to get the vision in so he can walk in and start setting up his towers. But when right now it's BTXL first in the river, how are you gonna just face check in there with 3 squishes that you have around? You need to use Taiki to try and get the vision for you. And if he goes too far, they can just turn on him.
Yeah, but he's going to get silenced and caught out here. Shockwave will land as well. Taiki has to use the Stormbringer, and
go.
Baron is getting absolutely liquefied here. They've got the pillar. Taiki tries to steal it, is unable to. The slam by Sendo as he showstoppers into 3 events. BTXL hot on the heels, attacks the flashes. Steph's going to fall as Kasing's able to solidify the kill. My brain is falling apart as ENCE's team is falling apart. BTXL walk away with the play, and now Sendo flanking onto Kevo, gets the face breaker. Kevo will crumble. Sendo secures it.
And we just talked about how hard it is for them to face check, right? And I said they need Taiki to walk in first. And if he walks in too far, he's going to get instantly punished and turned on. And he was instantly punished and turned on right there. BTXL are honestly playing their own game. I don't think there was a slither of doubt from the start on how they were going to play this. It's a great execution right there. Honestly, that level 1 really solidified the way this game was going to be played. And sure, you might say that a lot of cheeky level 1s from BTXL don't necessarily earn anything from them, but I feel like it won them the game, this one.
Big barrel actually there from Nilly. Shockwave onto 2. Hat-tricks. Chunks out simply, and Seth teleports coming in, and Kevo actually looking to come in with the bouncing bombs. Deadly's the one to get caught out for the moment, but the heals are there. Kasing keeps him alive, and Deadly, he'll be back to full health in no time.
Deadly's like playing the front line right there. He doesn't care about anything at all because he has the ambulance in his pocket, healing him up every time he missteps.
Yeah, that's the turret going to go down. Inhibitor number 2 will fall, and Deadly, he is just playing like the front line. Sendo gets himself a kill onto the volley there. Counter barrage has been used, and XL's health bars are a little bit low. Kasing's forced to heal.
Siracold coming up. Oh, they're not going to use
Wish is up, but it looks like for now they just want to reset. They did get a lot there. They got a Baron, 2 towers, and an inhibitor. 2 inhibitors, so a lot of gold in the pocket. Bloodthirster for Deadly on this base. Almost the death cap for Hat-tricks.
Oh man, this honestly looks impossible at this point from ENCE, and look at that, they chuck Taiki way too low, and even though that was a great effort for him to flash in and interrupt it and try to steal the dragon, another insanely great ult coming in from Sendo. And you see that if the turret setup is not already down by Kevo, there's actually no damage going in. The Tristana has no way of getting into this fight and coming out alive unless she gets a reset, and unless the Heimerdinger is able
Kevo
do
ulted
damage
for that
for the
blue buff.
Tristana to jump in for the reset, then the Tristana can just do nothing. And I would just love to see how much damage that Tristana has done in the entire game, if possible. That would be great, because I don't think Kevo has touched many champions apart from the early game.
Man, Kevo ulted for that blue buff, and Kasing just walked in. Taxa just walked in and smited it. Kevo takes a lot of damage from Deadly. Deadly got a lot of sustain, however. The waves are pushing up in the bot side. XL Just looking to crack open this final inhibitor turret.
It is so hard for ENCE to actually defend here because Sender is consistently pushing in the mid wave, and they could potentially die them right here because the third tower and last tower is going down.
Showstopper's going to get used instantly into the redemption. Sendo facebreakers Seth, and Hatrix is able to secure the kill. The Haymaker shield is onto Sendo to keep him alive. As the inhibitor will fall down, XL got the minions to work with. Only one turret stands between them and the game. Taiki just going to get caught out as Deadly is dancing between everyone. The knockout comes in for Kasing into the silence. Shockwave is whiffed, but I don't think it really matters. XL is just having a field day in ENCE's base right now. The minions will finish off the Nexus while XL just look for a couple more glory kills. 28 minutes on the clock, and it was a clean and clinical game by BTXL.
Honestly, you can see how much fun BTXL is having onto that Nexus when Deadly literally picks up Kasing with the Kalista ult and then throws him back almost into the fountain. I think that was pretty much what happened in the entire game. BTXL knew exactly what they were playing for. They played exactly on their spikes. They were pulling the strings off the puppet that was called ENCE. And ENCE, honestly, their macros seemed very lackluster. They looked very lost in what to do. They were looking at specific dragons that were going down without putting pressure anywhere else on the map. And overall, that Tristana pick, instead of being, you know, the early game condition that you're playing through, felt completely flat. And tell you what, it felt like that level 1 from BTXL really paid off.
Like we said at the beginning, we all really liked ENCE's draft, but I think, you know, like you said, they looked a little bit lost, and ENCE just weren't able to execute on their win conditions in that game. Now, guys, we are going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have our analysts break that down, so we'll see you after this break.
I keep reaching, but my arms can only stretch so far before I gotta give in. And how come I keep wanting, but my heart can only stretch so far before it's gonna cave in. I just wanna be happy. Seems like I'm the one who prevents me. And isn't it enough? Isn't it ever breath in my lungs? This I should treasure. I've got more love than I could ever need. Isn't it enough for me? How come is fleeting. Life is fleeting and tomorrow's not a guarantee. So I gotta begin. So I gotta begin. I gotta begin to be happy, begin to love myself, begin to see beauty, begin to live now, begin.
So it was the expected outcome, but maybe we traveled a slightly different path to get there, because I'm going to give you the sort of the insight that I had. I was watching the game, it was 6-6. I briefly stepped out to talk to my partner, and suddenly I came back and XL were on an inhibitor. What happened in that time period? Like, talk to me about this game, because this felt like it was close up until the point where it wasn't.
And I think that it kind of speaks to the fact that both teams, at least I felt like, were making similar to correct decisions. The difference was in the execution on those decisions made. You know, something as simple as the top lane starting. You know, Gangplank gets a wave pushing it to him. Set has used flash on the level 1, and theoretically, Gangplank can zone Set off. But then suddenly, XL turn everything on its head. We're diving top lane, and suddenly this Set gets 2 kills, and all of the work that Gangplank had used, all of the correct decisions that he had made, don't mean anything. It was just kind of repeated instances of that for ENCE throughout the course of the game, where XL just made better decisions and then executed on the better decisions.
And I think we saw a lot from their decisiveness as well. In particular, Sendo on this set, just looking for engages. We're actually going to see one here where, you know, the fight does start a little bit rough when they get crowded the pit, and then a huge ult there from Sendo just instantly puts it in favor of XL. And it feels like in these critical moments, it's the players like Sendo, so players like Deadly, who are finding these key moments and setting them up.
Yeah, and as you say, it looked close in the early game, and I want to give it off to NC. They actually had a pretty clean early game. I liked the way that Liv was setting up a slow push for topside so they could punish a Set with no flash. But then the train sort of derailed when we got into the mid games, and it shows that BTXL is a team that has been playing together for a longer period of time, and ENCE just has been formed. But I'm still very positively surprised about how ENCE does play out, and I'm still hopeful for their future.
Yeah, that's the key thing to take away. Both these teams, I think if you're a fan, you actually feel really good about this. And I think you shouldn't overlook the fact that ENCE lost in the way that they did, because it shows so much development and so much potential for ceiling there. You see a lot of nice things. And then it's also super fun if you're an XL fan, because you're like, okay, XL have a pretty slim margin that they need to work in here to like really make this take off. They need to show that they really are better players, and they put on a masterclass of that. They like reminded everyone like, ENCE are, you know, good, they're decent at the macro game, but XL are just on a different level comparatively to the teams around them.
Yeah, I think from what we've seen throughout the tournament is that XL always seem to find a way. And I mean, that's like really like cliche when we talk about XL, is that they always seem to find a way to make it work. But it's definitely their mid-game decisiveness and the sort of their ability to take the big decisions that impress me the most. But there are weaknesses, right? Like that we are seeing slight weaknesses in XL's gameplay. And I think ENCE were trying to exploit that in the early game. What is it that you think in the early game needs to be shored up for XL? Because this is something that we've seen a few times happen now. What is it that we think needs to be really smoothed over before we can quite firmly say XL 100% the best team in this group?
To me, it's still that I'm seeing so many sloppy mistakes. It's me that I'm seeing some cocky plays every now and then. I don't think they showed that too much today, but more so the last weeks. Today, I feel like they played a bit more polished, but still, you're looking at an early game composition with the Kalista here today that could have been more punished. You're still looking at an XL that can be more refined. So to me, honestly, they just need time, okay? They're just getting back from EU Masters. They're getting back to the block. They need to start the grind here. Again, you got Hatrix, new mid laner come in. You need more synergy. And they look worse in the beginning of this split, and they're starting to look more clean. So just give them some time, in my opinion.
Sure. I think that makes perfect sense. I actually have Deadly ready to chat to me. So I'm going to jump over to say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Deadly.
You right?
Yeah, how are you, mate?
I'm pretty good, and you, mate?
Yeah, no, doing really well. I'm obviously the biggest XL fanboy ever, so I always enjoy seeing XL do well. All right, mate, this game, obviously a little bit shaky in the early game. What was it that kind of went wrong for you in the early game that kind of made this a little bit harder for you than it needed to be?
Probably the gank from Volibear on my top laner at like level 3. We had a plan going in to like help top lane on the push, but then the level 3 gank threw him off guard. So it kind of messed up our plan afterwards because we had to help him after this. But apart from that, I think bot lane and mid lane played well. Like to say that we played full topside this game. It's just we didn't expect the level 3 gank by Volibear, which was kind of obvious because Set burnt flash level 1. But yeah. Just happens, I guess. Unlucky.
Didn't seem to hold Sendo back though. He still had a really, really strong game. Actually, speaking of the draft, was that a draft you were expecting? Were you just expecting the Heimerdinger in that scenario, or did you have to adapt to the Heimerdinger with that Soraka pick?
I expected it in Champ Select when they picked AD mid lane. Like it was pretty obvious it was gonna go either Cassiopeia or Heimerdinger. So we just saved, because in theory Set is flex for support, but if they go double range, then Set is gonna have a really bad time. So we kind of got through off guard, but we kind of expected it. So we saved the Set pick for counter pick on last pick for either role, top or support. Yeah,
I think it obviously worked out, and Kasing had some really good fights. The one fight that really sticks out to me was that dragon fight that went on for about 3 minutes, where Kasing was just like pumping out healing all the time. Now, for you, Deadly, obviously you've had quite a storied history in ERLs in general. Obviously, one of the biggest things that you achieved in the last year was the finalist of the European Masters last year, where you were there with Vodafone Giants. Obviously, didn't quite manage the same success in this European Masters in spring. What is it that you've learned over the course of those 2 tournaments, and how you kind of think you're going to apply to do better and take the title this time around?
Well, better mid jungle wins always. That's why we got to the finals last time. Just say it, Milika Razork. But yeah, compared to this time, I think if we have more time, I mean, the games that we're playing right now, we're playing more cocky and more for fun, because last split we went 18-0 and realized like it means nothing if you lose. So right now we're treating each game more like a scrim game and like just learning more from it than try-harding. So right now we're just training, I guess, for playoffs. So I mean, we're just playing for E-Masters, right? So every game until then is just a scrim, basically. Just more pressure, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So what you're essentially saying is that you're running an XL Dragon Ball Z kind of training weights storyline, and eventually when you get to the finals, you'll drop the training weights, and you won't get beaten by Fnatic in the finals. All right, that's what I like to hear. Deadly, thank you so much for chatting to me, mate. I hope you have a lovely night, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, mate. See ya.
And we're going to get to discuss that in a minute, because I think he brought out some interesting things that we could talk about. But first, we have our Orcs play of the game. So let's have a look at that one and see what happened.
So this was a huge run for me because XL were actually in a little bit of a tough position. They're in a good spot to get this Baron here. It does end up coming down for a 50-50, but the thing I want to focus on is the team fight that comes from after it. And up against a Heimer in particular, it's very hard to get outside of this pit, and being trapped in the pit is bad, but this huge ult from Sendo, not only does he get the extra damage from ulting the Volibear, but he just instantly turns us from a bad situation for XL where they're trapped in a pit to just destroying ENCE's HP and instantly giving XL a way to push outside the pit. That could have been a fight ENCE potentially could have taken, but because of that ult from Sendo, they just had to instantly scatter.
So let's go on from that. I want to briefly unpack some of that interview before we go to the break. First of all, obviously Deadly running with the theme that he's treating every game like a scrim, so everything's just more about learning experience rather than the win. Love to get your guys' opinion on that. I think that's an interesting way of looking at it.
It makes a lot more sense to me as a viewer now when I've been looking at the games, because we've been talking about it. They have seen cocky, and when Deadly just comes out straight up says, yeah, we're playing cocky, and they're just having a bit more fun. To me, it's just a nice clarification to have that they're just training here. And as a viewer and analyst, I feel a lot more, what do you say, relieved that this is their thought process and it's not just going downhill for them.
I think for me, it's the fact that in scrims, you tend to test your limits a lot more. And I think that's what they're looking to do in the UKLC, in the NLC, sorry, because last split in the UKLC, we saw them take every game very seriously, and it worked extremely well until Fnatic defeated them in the finals. And I think they want to find their weaknesses sooner. They want to push the limits out and get exposed by these teams so they know what they have to improve. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, as much as XL hasn't managed to get that title in such a long time, their goal is EU Masters. NLC does come second, and as much as I would love to be able to smash Fnatic for that, their end goal is to try and become one of the best European regional teams, and they need to be tested for that. And I think that limit testing aspect of the scrims is what he was really talking about.
Then that means that as a viewer or as a fan of Excel, what you're looking for to keep track of is how quickly they're snowballing games, how efficient and how decisive that they're being. That was the word that we used watching them in that game. They were so decisive with their calls. And if it's no longer about playing a composition that can snowball quite effectively, if they do play more of a scaling composition, then it's checking their objective setup. You know, it's really digging into the details of this team to kind of figure out what they're practicing on and what they're making the most of these on-stage scrims, if you will.
Yeah, I like that way that Deadly phrased it. You know, they had that learning experience in the previous split where they basically said, you know, as Orc said, if you can win every game in the league, but it counts for nothing if you lose in the final. So if we don't figure out what's wrong with us before then we might struggle again in that situation. So I like the way that he's looking at it. It's definitely an interesting viewpoint. Now, I'm going to leave that one there. I think we could talk about that for quite some time, realistically, but we have one more game of the day. So we'll jump to a quick break, and then we'll be going to our fourth game.